The trial announces itself without sound. What you do hear is the gate. That noise will haunt you for however many days you have left. A solid, definitive crash as timber slams into iron brackets, then the grinding shriek of a bolt thick as your arm being forced shut. There's no key click that promises someday. There's only that barrier and the darkness that swallows you whole. Moments before, sunlight surrounded you. Now you're crouched on a floor you can't see, breathing air that already tastes wrong. Damp rock, old charred wood, piss, and beneath it something sweet and putrid that you'll spend weeks trying not to recognize. You reach forward, the wall is there. You reach the other way, another wall blocks you. You're trapped in a space smaller than any bed you'll ever lie in again. Far above, muffled by stone, something rings, a bell for prayers you won't answer. Somewhere distant stands a court with judges who will eventually determine your fate, but not today, maybe not this month or year either. This is the first lesson of the medieval jail, the thing that will slowly destroy you from inside. You're not suffering a punishment. You're waiting for one. Forget everything prison means where you're from. In your world, prison is the punishment itself. The judge declares a number, 5 years or 10 or a lifetime, and that's the price you pay. Confinement is the sentence. But in 1200, there's no such thing as a prison sentence. Almost no one gets locked away for years because keeping someone locked costs money. You feed them, guard them, post sentries. A medieval lord has no money to waste feeding someone he despises. So when the law wants to harm you, it doesn't use a cell. It picks something faster and cheaper. A payment in coins, or your family's only animal. Public humiliation in the marketplace where townspeople spit on you. A burned mark on your flesh. Your ear gone, your nose, your hand, your neck in a noose. For the worst acts, the flames. None of that requires a prison. So what is a prison for then? It's a storage cage, a container where the accused wait until someone powerful shows up to judge them. The Latin term is custodia, just keeping safe, like storing grain. You're being held intact, the way you'd preserve goods, so you're still here, breathing, locatable on the day the law gets around to you. That's the joke etched on these walls. This cell isn't your sentence. It's the anteroom to your sentence. And that anteroom, you'll discover, can be worse than what comes after it. Let's step back several hours to when your former existence stopped. Perhaps you committed an act. Perhaps you took bread when hunger was killing your family through a brutal season that slaughtered the livestock and froze the water supply. Maybe you threw a blow at someone in a tavern and he never stood again. Maybe you borrowed what you can't repay, and in this age, unpaid debt is crime, your body the collateral. Or maybe you did absolutely nothing. That's what nobody discusses. In 1200, there are no cops. No investigator examines the scene, no one assembles evidence. When crime occurs in your district, the law comes from your neighbors themselves. If enough of them finger you, whether they're frightened or owe you nothing or have wanted your property for years, that pointing might be all it takes. The Lord's representative with a bailiff arrives. He doesn't explain your freedoms because you barely have any. He quickest your hands with rope that bites into skin and marches you, maybe for hours across country, exposed to everyone you know, to wherever they keep the condemned. Maybe a castle chamber, maybe stone vaults beneath the town building, maybe a deep pit beneath a tower with only a ceiling hole for entering and leaving. A cavity they lower you into and abandon. The French have a word for such a cell, oubliette, from the verb to forget. Remember that word. It's the most honest name for what surrounds you now. When sight eventually returns, and it will, painfully, across hours, you realize the darkness has a ruler. They call him the warden. He becomes the most crucial person in your existence because in 1200, the crown doesn't compensate him properly. The kingdom expects the region to manage the facility and the warden to handle the prisoners, yet it gives him almost nothing. So the warden profits the only way possible. He charges you. Simply entering has a cost. He bills you for the chains on your legs, then charges again to loosen them, since lighter restraints cost extra. He takes payment for filthy straw rather than bare rock. He charges for a location where air flows from an opening. He charges for drinking water that hasn't sat fouled for days. And most importantly, he charges for meals. Here's what breaks every new captive. The facility provides no food. There's no automatic meal because you're human. If you want to eat, you give money to the warden for whatever he brings at whatever he decides to charge. And he charges severely because where else can you buy from? Your first day, before facing any judge, you see your future clearly. The wealthy captive whose family sends money gets a light, cloth, loose chains, alcohol, cooked meat, space for himself. The poor captive, that's you, gets concrete floors, heavy restraints, and constant hunger. Everything here has a price, and you can't get the bargain rates. Now consider the actual chamber, because you'll know it like your own skin. There's no window as you'd recognize one, maybe a crack in stone or a grill in the ceiling above, through which comes a dull echo of existence, a shift from blackness to less blackness. That's your calendar. Gray light means daytime, its absence means night. You'll track everything by it. The chill isn't the sharp bite of a frosty dawn that exercise can chase away. It's the deep freeze of rock that's never warmed. A freeze coming up through earth into your marrow, making your jaw ache, making your hands stop responding. In hot months, moisture runs down the walls. In cold, men wake up dead beside you, curled where they collapsed, killed only by the room's temperature. Then there are the chains. Your leg might be locked to the wall by a chain just long enough to reach the waste bucket, no further. Or you're sealed in shackles so heavy that standing becomes exhausting, and you discover you move like an old person, though you're barely into your 20s. The load is intentional. Iron doesn't come cheap. They wouldn't spend it if they didn't mean something. It sits there, constantly telling your body it no longer belongs to itself. Money gets some of it removed. Without it, you wear everything until release, or hanging, or the moment you just quit, lie down, and let the rock pull your heat away. Somewhere in black, another voice coughs in a manner you're learning to dread. This is only night 1. By the 3rd day, hunger transforms into something alive, sharing the space. It's not gentle starvation from skipping meals. It's a hollow throbbing that spreads through every part of you, then floods your mind, drowning out thoughts of children, your case, God. There's only thoughts of grain. You fantasize about it. You wake grasping. You notice the warden's hands when he appears, searching for grain. If your relatives are near and not imprisoned and care for you, they might bring food through the bars, and you'll feel both love and fury. Love for the bit of loaf, fury at how they regard you differently now. But most don't have anyone. The village is weeks away by foot. Family is equally destitute or perished or has written this man off as dead already. For those people, only goodwill matters. Certain areas have charitable funds established through wills for grain through the openings on holy occasions. Clergy periodically appear from pity with contributions. On celebration days, a wealthy man buying divine forgiveness might donate grain for distribution. The strange math of the medieval facility emerges. Whether someone endures or perishes depends not on whether they did wrong or committed no wrong, but whether some departed benefactor remembered the captives. Some don't consume enough. Mouth tissue bleeds, body parts swell, strength fails for standing, then for sitting. One gray morning, as gray begins, they don't notice it. The warden documents the empty spot. There's a price for interment, after all. If nobody provides it, the county does, grudgingly. You develop a habit of facing the wall while sleeping, yet starvation is the quiet death. There's a quicker one. It cares nothing for money or guilt or innocence. You pack many people into blackness with no clean liquid, no way to wash, no method to remove waste, stuck in identical garments for weeks, and you've built the ideal place for sickness. You're never by yourself here. You coexist with parasites, insects, creatures willing to raid your grain and your face while you sleep, with illness traveling through crawling things from person to person. A particular fever appears in spots like this one. Centuries in the future, it'll receive a designation, prison fever, because it seems to live in jails like wetness lives in basement spaces. Burning sensation, pounding temples, spots, muddled thoughts. Someone's speaking with you as sun sets, but by the following dusk, he's conversing with phantoms, and by day 3, with nobody. It doesn't stay confined. Here's the dark truth of the medieval jail. It destroys those who never pass through the opening. When the sick are extracted for courtroom proceedings, the fever travels with them, settling onto judges, court officers, men in expensive clothes, and frequently more bodies pile up on the bench than on the execution ground. Trials will gain notorious nicknames for judges the fever eliminated. You haven't learned that. You only know the person nearby radiates heat and you can't shift because you're chained to an identical spot. You beg, everyone implores, not for liberation anymore, that burned away days back. You beg to be tried before the fever takes you. You beg for the singular thing ending this. You beg for the proceeding. Your neighbors teach you this place's genuine character. Grope through the chamber during gray moments, and you'll learn your companions aren't what you suspected. Not killers, not murderers from folklore. They're regular humans in the same trap. The person owing debts he borrowed to buy plants whose crops failed, now bound not because he committed violence, but because he cannot settle accounts. He'll face no execution. He simply remains indefinitely because his creditor prefers rot to forgiveness, and the system permits it. He might perish here for the cost of a couple of coins, and everyone acknowledges it, and no one cares. There's the likely innocent individual repeating his innocence until listeners stop attending. He was accused, that sufficed. Now he waits like the rest for the proceeding to split honest from dishonest. A proceeding that hasn't materialized. There's someone here longest who's ceased explaining why. He no longer counts moments. He doesn't picture escape. Something broke internally. Distance yourself from him because everyone fears becoming him. And some await execution for serious offenses, killing, theft from sacred spaces, betrayal of their master, understanding that when proceedings happen, they won't rescue, just eliminate him. Even they crave the trial. That's the strange kinship of the medieval cage, the guilty and blameless, criminals and borrowers, merged in black, unified by a single desperate belief that someone with power is eventually traveling toward them to create a determination. Now comprehend the true nightmare. It's not cold or starvation or even illness. It's the waiting itself. In your existence, arrest brings trial in days, but in 1200, across most lands, no fixed court waits to decide major cases. Serious matters in chains, cases that might cost a person their life, must wait for royal traveling magistrates. These important figures move through the kingdom in the king's authority. When they enter a region, proceedings happen, and one of their responsibilities has a label: jail clearance. They clear the facility by ultimately hearing everyone imprisoned there. On that day only does your case matter. This is the wound. They might arrive yearly. They might arrive once every several years. Conflict, disasters, the king's personal matters, the territory's vastness. Any force can postpone their arrival. The region is responsible for holding you until they show up. It doesn't need to speed them. So you remain. You sit while the borrower gives in. You sit while fever claims the person opposite. You sit while gray approaches and leaves, approaches and leaves. And the scratches you marked into stone in the beginning pile up beyond memory. And you cease because marking is hoping. And hope is what this location extinguishes final and slowest. Nobody condemned you to a decade. No magistrate uttered that phrase. Yet you might complete a decade anyway, served beforehand, in shadow, prior to determination of whether you did something wrong. This is why rumors of arriving magistrates make imprisoned men cry something resembling happiness, because the proceeding, whatever it means, is the sole way from this cell that isn't perishing. Then, one morning, gray shifts. Footsteps echo above, numerous ones, voices with the sound of those who eat sufficiently. The bolt scrapes back, and actual brightness, blazing daylight, crashes into the chamber like impact, and you wail and shield yourself because sunlight is gone from memory. They drag you upstairs on legs that have forgotten stepping. They position you, filthy and stinking, in a room full of clean persons who pull back from your odor. A clerk recites your charge in a language you don't grasp. Now you discover how 1200 decides truthfulness. No researchers, no scientific proof, no balancing of information as you understand it. Often, when the human authority can't establish certainty, they forward it to the single judge they trust won't fail, God Himself. They call it the ordeal. For the burning ordeal, metal heated until glowing must be grasped in exposed fingers for a specific span. They wrap your scorched hand and seal it. 72 hours afterward, they open it. Clean healing equals innocence declared by God. Oozing and discoloration, picture a heat wound in a filthy place with no treatment, equals culpability declared by God. The condemned receive the rope. For the water ordeal, you're bound and submerged in a chasm that clergy have sanctified. The reasoning flips, yet cuts each way. The blessing makes holy liquid, and holy liquid rejects sinfulness. Float, and you're guilty. Sink, the blessed liquid receives you and drowns you while hoping someone extracts you in time. Not everyone gets saved in time. You'll never learn this. Soon afterward, the church stops permitting clergy to participate, and the system vanishes, getting replaced gradually by neighborhood juries deciding. But you were born too soon for juries. For you, truth is glowing iron and water, and a deity's absence from speech. The ordeal isn't the sole path. What decides your trial depends on your standing. As a soldier or accused by one, you can have combat trial, something Norman invaders established. The theory matches. God grants victory to the righteous person. You and your accuser get weapons or brutal wood poles and fight, occasionally to termination, before witnesses. The defeated one, assuming he survives, has been exposed as liar through his loss, and rope potentially follows. Fairness determined by whose body gives up fastest. With respectable status, you might clear yourself through oath swearing. You promise innocence and bring forth a number of oath supporters, regular people who swear not from witnessing anything, merely that your guarantee holds weight. Sufficient good names supporting you means departure, which means someone liked with many associates has superior likelihood than someone unfamiliar or someone the village wanted gone. As clergy, or capable of demonstrating Latin comprehension, you might invoke clergy protections and require judgment not through the king's court, but through gentler church courts, avoiding execution. In an era when scholarship is uncommon, reading a single holy sentence might literally preserve life. Individuals memorize that sentence explicitly. They grimly label it the saving verse. Picture what these options mean from your cell's rock. Your life or death might depend on burn healing, how well you manage bound swimming, arm force with a pole, Maber affection, or Latin faking. Almost anything except genuine investigation of what happened. Yet at least something occurs. After seasons in black, something occurs. That itself resembles mercy. Step from your cell into a distinct form of captivity. Not every imprisoned person in 1200 sits in filth. If you're a significant noble or a warrior captured during conflict, capture isn't your conclusion, it's business. You're worth significantly more alive and bought back than destroyed. So your captor lodges you not in darkness, but in chambers with warmth, spirits, helpers, occasionally ground privileges. Messengers traveled to your relations to determine repayment figures. Validation came years prior. The English crown, Richard the Lionheart, then Christendom's greatest fighter, got captured traveling home from religion wars and locked by foes. They didn't secure him in holes. They preserved him as the treasure he represented, and they wanted compensation so massive, truly royal payment, resources to erect monasteries, that the whole kingdom squeezed itself to gather it. His subjects, powerful and regular, contributed so their ruler returned. That's powerful prisoners' reality, comfortable, negotiated, finite business between elite men. Carry that comprehension back down into darkness, and feel its weight. The same period sees a captured king spend imprisonment with spirits and fire warmth as you sit chained, fed only from strangers' mercy, asking the fever avoids you. The difference isn't wrongdoing, it's not guiltlessness, it's not even the offense, it's solely what your flesh means in currency. That's medieval fairness laid plain, not balancing right against wrong, but balancing you against money. How concludes the period? The sitting, the shadow, the sickness, the ordeal? Only a few exits exist from such places. You've imagined each countless times. Acquittal arrives. The burn recovers normally. The water releases you, gasping into air. Oath companions swear. The jury eventually denies wrongdoing. You step outside. Except you're broken. Your physique has failed. Your territory's abandoned. Your reputation marked forever because you were captured. Released, yet not completely. Then comes the determination. Recall almost never additional cell time. It's payment that destroys family finances, or a burned brand, or a missing hand, or a rope on the village border where neighbors gather viewing. The trial doesn't always rescue. Occasionally, it just reveals your finish type. But even that, after perpetual uncertainty, brings terrible comfort. The daring and blessed may find escape. A person reaching a chapel entrance receives asylum, sanctuary from punishment for 40 solar cycles, after which confession or swearing to depart the realm forever, traveling to the harbor under white cloth, removed from the kingdom, yet still breathing. Then exists the ultimate exit, the one occurring most frequently, the one temperature opens, or starvation opens, or cold. The wordless departure in gray hours for those whose trial never accelerates, no judgment, no determination, no documentation, except a single entry in the coroner's documentation, expired in captivity, pending the magistrates. The anteroom became their full sentence, and nobody decided on that sentence for an unproven charge. Count how scarce are exits leading anywhere decent, then comprehend why, from them all, the direction you'd sprint to, the direction you'd beg for on knees in black, is the proceeding. Not because it's impartial, but because it's a conclusion. Tonight, you'll perform something so unremarkable, you won't recognize it. You'll close an entrance because you prefer to in quarters you can freely leave. You'll rest, understanding that if you face charges, someone must establish them with proof before authority, rapidly. Consider him against that person on frozen dirt in 1200. Nobody condemned him to that black. No proceeding sent him there. He simply got removed, held like grain in a room constructed for holding, while medieval fairness's great machine rotated in its own rhythm, heedless whether he endured to witness it. His detention wasn't consequence. It was the space preceding consequence, and it might consume years, and it might consume him fully, abandoning only a reference in documentation, a groove in rock nobody would ever see. This is why the proceeding, the ordeal, the flames, the immersion, the combat, the rope on the other end of all of it, this is why the proceeding felt like salvation. The sole thing more frightening than judgment by 1200 was obscurity by 1200. In the shadow, that word's reality returns to you, the one they gave the deepest holes, oubliette, the forgetting place. You'd implore not to vanish. You'd implore for an entrance to open. You'd implore, God have mercy for the proceeding. Knowing this, Truly grasping it from that cell's ground through your own experience is why you couldn't endure a single night there, and why the standard morning of your existence, the moment you simply rouse free, constitutes a blessing so extraordinary that virtually no human ever born merited receiving it.